hit the like and share button for us. Before we go into the Arsenal game, the Man United game, and talk a little bit about the Champions League coming up, Spurs, what's going on? What's going on with you lot? And I say that because a couple of weeks ago, Henry Wright was on here, standing up, ranting, get this Aussie out my football club. You and Kate having Barney's about it, but you're winning games again now. What's going on? Are you all now Ange in? Everything all good after smashing up West Ham 4-1?
Go on, you can go first, Kate.
Look, I was never Ange out. I was Ange out, and I'm still got doubts. But he showed at the weekend that I think he's learning. I think he's adapting now. The fullbacks aren't inverting like they were. He made changes at halftime, a brave call at halftime to take Maddison off and bring on Sarr. And I was scratching my head, couldn't work out for the life of me why he did it, but it worked to perfection. So, look, for me, I don't see the point of being Ange out. I don't think anybody's going to come in and do any better job at the minute. I think when we play well, some of our play at the weekend for the Basuma goal particularly, it's absolutely beautiful to watch. But yeah, I don't know. There is still a lot of people that are Ange out because they're saying, much like Tom was saying, oh, well, you haven't played anyone decent yet. Well, we played Arsenal and we got beat, but that was purely by individual lapses of concentration, in my opinion. It wasn't that they were better than us. We had a lapse of concentration which enabled them to score. So look, what we all need now is some consistency. It's no good winning one, losing three, winning two. We need to have some consistency, and until we get there, I think the Ange doubters and outers will always be there. But I mean, I can't speak for Henry. I know Henry was very passionately Ange out at one point.
Yeah, I mean, have you? Thank you, Kate. Are you ready now to apologize for your untimely, premature outburst about your manager, Henry?
No, I'm not apologising for it because there's still a lot of doubt there. Like Kate just said, we need consistency. 2-0 up against Brighton. If we would have won that game, we'd be probably sitting in and around the top four right now. It's fine margins. How we lost that game was ridiculous, and we go out there and destroy West Ham, which is their cup final. They always turn up against us. They went 1-0 up against the run of play, but I think we'll always play good football under Ange, but where I criticise him is in those big changes, and he made a big change against West Ham, and it was bang on the money. You're taking off our most creative player. You put in Kudu, who's probably been our best player this season, in the 10. Got his goal, was really, really good again. I think he's had 4 or 5 top performances so far this season. And it kind of reminds me of the Bernardo Silva thing at City. He was always out on the right-hand side. They put him in as a number 8. And you get a different side to the player. But yeah, I'm happy to hold my hands up and say we've definitely had a lot of good performances. But like I said, we need consistency. If we go and lose to Crystal Palace on Sunday, with roller coaster FCs, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The one thing that we have got going for us is we are doing quite well in the Europa League. And I do think on Thursday we'll beat AZ Alkmaar. And I do expect us to be within the top 2. Going into the following game, I think it's Galatasaray away. If we get a draw there, that's us practically qualified. But we have got some tough games coming up. We've got City twice. We've got Villa coming up, Chelsea. I think Liverpool.
December time.
Yeah, Liverpool are further down the line. But, we play good football. It's just about managing the game out a little bit. He has definitely improved. That Arsenal game for me was infuriating because they were just sitting there going, just come at us. And we just didn't react when they got their goal. And it was I don't think we were horrendous in that Arsenal game, and I don't think we were bad. I think we just couldn't break them down. That Brighton game, though, I don't know how much blame you can put on him because it's so many individual errors in that game. You could argue, other managers first 15 minutes would keep it tight, maybe change things a little bit. That's not what Ange does. But Romero, I mean, other than 2 games this season, he hasn't had a great start. Van der Ven was much better against West Ham. Porro's had a relatively good start. Udogi's been a bit hit and miss. But look, we're only a couple of points off top 4, so it's not that bad. But it's still a long way to go. We need to have a good January window as well.
How bad are West Ham, by the way?
Solanke needs to be sold either. I think that's mad.
West Ham are absolutely
How bad are they?
dreadful.
They spent so much money and they look so bad.
They do it all the time. They get a little bit of success. They think they have a style of play, change up the manager, then go back to being.
Yeah, but I've understood the previous times. The previous times made more sense. You have Moyes, who was a resolute defensive manager. You go and bring Pellegrini, who's seen as this more attacking-minded manager, won some leagues before, progressive move. You go sack Moyes again, but this is a Moyes who's won stuff for you now. Won your first European trophy, in God knows how many, won your first trophy in God knows how many years. And then you go bring in Julian Lopetegui, who for all intents and purposes is a tapas version of Moyes, just worse, just with less success in the Premier League, and then sit there and go, oh, why is it not working? What I wonder why he leaves his midfielders out to dry, his attackers have no creativity. Honest to God, you're not saying you don't know what you've got until it goes. That's West Ham every time with Moyes. They're going to get him back a third time. They're going to bring him back.
They're going to realise Moyes is supposed to get a statue, not get sacked, bro. He's not a joker, mate.
Again, Thomas Frank. Yeah, Thomas Frank would have been a much better appointment. Look, he flopped at Wolves. I kind of get going from Moyes to Pellegrini. Pellegrini was a good manager. He did well at City. He just wasn't of Pep's level. Pep was available. It makes sense. But this change is crazy. Thomas Frank would be an excellent manager. With respect to Brentford, West Ham are a much bigger and wealthier football club. Far more pressure because they are a big team here in England. There's more money to be spent. Maybe you can keep your squad together longer. And with the talent, West Ham have got a lot of talent in that team.
They do.
A lot of talent in that side.
You see in that game, Terry, Kudus just said, "Fuck this."
I'm out. That was red cards in one moment.
Hang on though. But I have to say, how embarrassed were you, Henry, watching the size of your men lay on the floor, rolling around and crying? That was embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, I don't agree with it, but you can't hit someone.
Especially from Mickey Van der Ven. He's about 6'6" and weighs about 14 stone. He fell over like a baby.
Yeah, I don't agree with him falling over, but for the angle I saw, he kind of goes over on Van der Ven, catches him, that originally was a yellow card. Then he pushes Van der Ven, then he pushes Richarlison, then he pushes Sarr. And then they were still debating if it was a red card.
Somehow, bro.
What are we doing?
He didn't actually push Richie. Richie just got the back of his head. He got headbutted accidentally. But look, at the end of the day, Kudus kicked Van der Ven when he was on the ground. And then Van der Ven went down when he hit him in the face. And to be fair, if you don't go down, you probably won't get the... you probably don't get the red card, so I've got no...
Do you know what it was? Kudus knew he was getting sent off, so he was doing everything to get someone off with him. He was trying to rattle everyone, so someone responds to him.
Hey,
I've just seen it. I've just seen it.
Cry for help. I don't know what is, man. If that's not,
I can't lie. That's embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. He's tapped him on the side of the head, and bro, when he's seen it and gone, I've seen that one. What? That's awful. Oh my god. Kudus isn't even big. Kudus probably weighs like 100. I don't know, like
10 stone, 11 stone,
70 kilos, 75 kilos.
That's a big miss for them because they're talking about 6-game ban.
Lad, I'm watching the video. Have you seen the moment where Richarlison nuts Kudus and then nearly takes out the ref falling over? Oh my god.
Yeah, it was. I thought. Listen, yeah, he shouldn't get any longer. It was only pushing him. He didn't actually punch or kick. We have to be. I think we're mindful of that. But yeah, no. West Ham again. That's why I'd say with Spurs. I don't know what to say rudely. I thought they did very well. I've watched the game again. I've watched the highlights back again, and I'm more reflected on it. As good as Spurs were, I don't know if it's the test to show that Ange has really turned a corner based on how bad West Ham are. Man United play West Ham next. We're awful. I think we'll put 3 or 4 goals past them. I think they're that away from home, but they just look that bad. They're not good at home or away. They just look so weak. It's unbelievable. And as soon as they concede 1, they go. Like in that second half, again, you guys took your chances, but it was just like it was almost too easy. Does that make sense? It didn't. And I'm not trying to take it away from Tottenham, but I don't necessarily think it was an acid test per se. Who you got next, Spurs?
You've got Palace away. And then the one for me is to figure out if Ange has turned the corner is the 3rd of November against Villa. Because we all know Unai is going to sit there and say, just come on to us. We're going to have about 70% of the ball. And then the following game after that is Ipswich and City. So that little 3-game period, I think we'll beat Ipswich comfortably. I think we'll beat Palace on Sunday, but it's that Villa game because these are the games where he's going to get judged the most. And we've got City as well in the cup, haven't we? A couple of days before.
I think the problem that you have like with your manager is that he's just tactically naive and he doesn't adapt. So it's like you kind of already know how you're gonna play before you go into games. I think the other managers know. We all know it. So I think it maybe if you don't want to blame the manager for anybody that thinks blaming like Ange Postecoglou is not fair, then maybe you got to blame the players. Like maybe they're just not executing his plan correctly because he doesn't adjust anything. Like that's why you guys blew that lead to Brighton, and like that's why you guys sometimes pump teams, and then other times you guys get pumped. It's just he's just not tactically the best, and I think that's the problem. It's like there needs to be in-game management. There's only a few teams in Europe that don't really have to worry about whoever they're playing, what they're gonna do, and Tottenham are not one of those teams. So I think that's just the problem that you guys have with your manager.
Yeah, but he does tweak things, and he does make his in-game management at the weekend was perfect. He stopped the fullbacks inverting as much this season. He's changed that. I think it's unfair, and I think it's a really lazy narrative to just say that he's naive all the time just because he stands by a philosophy. I mean, it might be that he dies on his sword. We'll have to wait and see. But I think to say that he's tactically naive, he can't manage in games, and he doesn't make changes is wrong.
That's more of it. He's so stuck on that philosophy. That's what it is. He's willing to die on that philosophy, and I feel like I don't think your squad is so much better than the teams around you. So when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to can the manager step up and be the difference maker. And whilst he's not tactically naive because he will make adjustments to his system, it's almost like not that he doesn't know how to, but he doesn't want to play anything other than his system, even when the game calls for something other than his system. So yes, he might stop inverting the fullbacks, but it's irrelevant if they're beating you in the midfield, which is something that he might not change. It's irrelevant if they're nullifying your wingers, which is something that he's not really going to change, bar personnel changes, which is more of the bigger problem. Ange will work and Ange will win trophies if Ange has the best squad. But Ange is not going to get the best squad whilst in the Premier League. So Ange will have a ceiling to where he is until he proves to me otherwise that he can go that he can go deeper, that he can cede possession, set up resolutely in a mid block or a low block, and kill teams in a different way. Because right now, Plan A works well when it works, but there is no Plan B, and that for 80% of the season is fine, but for 20% of the season, that's where the problems are. And I know my manager was pretty much the exact same. We just had a really good squad for a lot of it, and he was a better manager.
Because Unai's got Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and he'll know exactly what to do. And that's how we're going to pick the lot. Saying that, last year we smashed Villa to bits. We smashed them at Villa Park, but it was the home game where
at Villa Park they were absolutely decimated at that point. So yeah, you beat them, but you didn't beat actually their first.